There's no DTCs in the bike, and we can also reset the service light while we're in there.
While there are some bikes that use different methods of final drive transmission, the chain is what we're going to concentrate on today.
You know that sinking feeling when your bike starts making that weird noise and you're staring at a $500 repair bill? Well, what if I told you that most motorcycle maintenance costs nothing but a Saturday afternoon and some elbow grease? The average rider spends over $1,500 annually on basic maintenance that could be done for under $300. Today, we're breaking down the essential maintenance tricks that'll keep your bike purring and your wallet happy. Let's dive in. Number 10. Master the art of battery maintenance. Here's something that'll save you from that embarrassing parking lot moment we've all experienced, the dreaded dead battery click. A motorcycle battery typically runs you $80 to $150, but proper maintenance can double or triple its lifespan from the standard 2 to 4 years. The secret weapon? A battery tender. These little $30 devices have revolutionized motorcycle storage since they became mainstream in the late 90s. Before then, riders had to physically disconnect batteries during winter storage or risk coming back to a sulfated brick. Now just hook up that tender whenever you park for more than a week. The tender maintains optimal charge levels without overcharging, preventing sulfation that kills batteries prematurely.
Awesome, amazing, affordable. They're automatic, trickle charging.
Check your electrolyte levels monthly if you've got a conventional battery. Use only distilled water, never tap water. The minerals in regular water will destroy your battery faster than a Minnesota winter. Keep those terminals clean with a wire brush and some baking soda solution. That green crusty stuff isn't just ugly, it's resistance that robs your electrical system of power. Temperature matters too. Batteries lose about half their cranking power at freezing temperatures. If you're riding year-round in cold climates, consider upgrading to an AGM, absorbed glass matte battery. They're sealed, maintenance-free, and handle temperature extremes better than conventional batteries. Pro tip, install an SAE lead directly to your battery terminals. This $10 pigtail lets you connect your tender without removing seat and panels every time.
An AGM battery is a wet cell battery containing a fiberglass mat that absorbs the liquid electrolytes inside.
Some riders install voltage meters to monitor battery health. If voltage drops below 12.6 volts when resting, it's time to charge. A failing stator or regulator will kill batteries repeatedly, so if you're going through multiple batteries, investigate your charging system. Prevention beats replacement every single time. Alright folks, if you're finding value in these tips, show some love with that new hype button YouTube just rolled out. Let's get this video trending and help more riders save their hard-earned cash on maintenance they can handle themselves. Number 9. The fork oil secret nobody talks about. Your front forks are doing way more work than you realize. They're not just springs, they're sophisticated hydraulic dampers filled with oil that breaks down over time. Most manufacturers recommend changing fork oil every 15 to 20,000 miles, but here's the kicker. Hardly anyone does it until their forks are practically seized. This maintenance task gained prominence after the 70s when telescopic forks became standard on virtually every street bike. Before that, many bikes used primitive girder or leading link suspensions that riders just lived with. Modern forks use precisely engineered oil viscosities to control compression and rebound damping, making your bike handle predictably over bumps, during braking, and through corners.
Inside your fork and how the different oils will impact what's going on inside.
Changing fork oil yourself costs about $40 in materials versus $300 at a shop. The biggest challenge isn't the technical work, it's having the confidence to tackle it. You'll need basic hand tools, fresh fork oil, check your manual for the exact weight and quantity, typically 10W or 15W, and most importantly, patience. Take photos as you disassemble everything. Mark the fork height before removal to ensure proper reassembly. Watch for these warning signs: oil residue on your fork tubes, excessive dive under braking, or a harsh ride over small bumps. Catching these early means the difference between a simple oil change and replacing expensive fork seals at $150 per side. The procedure itself is straightforward. Remove forks, drain old oil, pump the damper rod to expel trapped fluid, refill with exact measured amounts, and reinstall. Many riders discover their forks have been running on half the required oil for years. Fresh oil transforms handling immediately. Suddenly your bike tracks straight, bumps disappear, and confidence soars. That sketchy feeling in corners? Often it's just tired fork oil.
Long relationship with your bike, you're gonna need clean air. This requires maintenance to keep the...
Number 8. Air filter intelligence. Think of your air filter as your engine's first line of defense. A clogged filter is literally suffocating your motor, killing both performance and fuel economy. Yet this $20 part that takes 5 minutes to change gets ignored more than a speed limit sign on an empty highway. The paper air filter revolutionized motorcycle maintenance when it replaced oiled cotton filters in the 1960s. Honda led this charge, making maintenance accessible to riders who weren't mechanically inclined. Today's filters are engineering marvels. Pleated paper designs offer massive surface area in compact packages, while foam filters for off-road bikes can be cleaned and re-oiled dozens of times. Here's what dealers won't tell you. Changing your air filter regularly can improve fuel economy by up to 10%. On a bike averaging 45 miles per gallon, that's essentially getting 4.5 free miles for every gallon you buy.
Halfway through the day, peel one off, you get to let your bike breathe a little bit midday, which is also good for the engine.
The math is simple. At current gas prices, a clean filter pays for itself in under 1,000 miles. Check it every oil change, replace when dirty. Street riders might go 12,000 miles between changes, but if you're riding dusty roads, check monthly. The filter should be uniformly covered. Dark spots indicate it's time for a replacement. Hold it up to sunlight. If light doesn't pass through evenly, it's done. K&N style washable filters are a solid $60 investment lasting your bike's lifetime with proper cleaning every 5,000 miles. That's versus buying $20 disposable filters repeatedly. The cleaning kit costs $15 and handles dozens of services. Never run without a filter, even temporarily. One dusty ride without protection introduces more contaminants than 10,000 miles of normal operation. Those particles act like sandpaper on cylinder walls and valves. Also, avoid over-oiling washable filters.
You're pulling out your air filter, is you want to be careful not to drop dirt off your...
Excess oil can contaminate mass airflow sensors on fuel-injected bikes, causing running issues that'll drive you crazy diagnosing. Number 7. Coolant system wisdom. For you liquid-cooled riders, coolant is your engine's insurance policy against meltdown. Your engine runs at temperatures that would literally boil water, around 220 degrees Fahrenheit operating temperature, which is exactly why we use engineered coolant instead of straight water. The shift from air cooling to liquid cooling in mainstream motorcycles during the 1980s changed everything. Suddenly, riders dealt with coolant flushes, thermostats, water pumps, and radiator maintenance. The trade-off? Engines that ran consistent temperatures, lasted longer, made predictable power, and met increasingly strict emissions standards. Today, virtually every sport bike and most large displacement motorcycle use liquid cooling.
This is something that often gets overlooked, but you should do it every year or two because
fresh coolant costs about $15 per liter, and most bikes hold under 2 liters. A shop charges $150 for a coolant flush that takes 30 minutes. Here's what they won't tell you. It's easier than changing oil. Drain old coolant when the engine's stone cold. Hot coolant will burn you badly. Flush with distilled water if switching types. Refill with manufacturer spec mixture, usually 50-50 antifreeze and distilled water, and bleed air pockets. Never mix coolant types or colors. Different formulations use incompatible corrosion inhibitors. Mixing green ethylene glycol with orange organic acid technology coolant creates a gel that'll clog passages and destroy your cooling system. Stick with what your manual recommends. Change every 2 years regardless of mileage. Watch for these danger signs. Coolant level dropping regularly indicates leaks. Milky oil suggests head gasket failure, and rust-colored coolant means corrosion is eating your engine from inside. That mysterious overheating in traffic? Often it's just a stuck thermostat.
So, your owner's manual is going to suggest replacing your coolant about once every 2 years.
A $20 part preventing $2,000 in engine damage. Always use distilled water in your mixture. Tap water's minerals create scale deposits that insulate cylinder walls, causing hot spots and potential seizure. One proper coolant service beats 5 years of topping off with garden hose water. Number 6. Brake pad economics. Brake pads are where physics meets your survival instincts. They're literally the only thing between controlled deceleration and becoming tomorrow's cautionary tale. Yet many riders run them down to backing plates because they think brake service is expensive rocket science. Here's the reality check. Brake pads cost $30 to $50 per set if you install them yourself. A shop charges $150 to $200 for the same 30-minute job. Since Honda introduced disc brakes on the mass production CB750 in 1969, the first production motorcycle with this technology, brake pad replacement has been one of the easiest DIY tasks. Check your pads monthly. It takes seconds. Peer through the caliper. You need at least 3 millimeters of pad material remaining.
It's possible to replace the brake pads without removing the caliper. That's the lazy way to do it, because
most pads have wear indicators, grooves cut into the friction material. When these disappear, it's replacement time. Hearing metal on metal grinding? You're not just needing pads anymore, you're looking at rotor replacement. That $30 prevention just became a $300 problem. Quality matters critically here. Those $15 eBay specials use mystery friction compound that might work great cold but fade to nothing when hot. Spend the extra $20 on EBC, Galfer, or OEM pads. Good pads last longer, perform consistently, and maintain effectiveness when hot, like during the emergency stop after riding aggressive canyon roads. The installation process is simple. Remove caliper bolts, swing caliper up, pop out old pads, push pistons back, slowly, watching brake fluid reservoir level. Insert new pads, reinstall. The only special tool needed is a C-clamp or piston tool to compress the pistons. Always install pads in complete axle sets, never just one side or one caliper.
You're usually going to have to replace your rotor if that happened. They can chew into your new pads.
Break-in matters. New pads need 100 to 200 miles of gradual heat cycling to transfer friction material to motors and achieve full effectiveness. Avoid aggressive braking initially unless emergency demands it. Number 5. Drive chain reality check. If you're riding a chain drive bike, that chain is working harder than a one-legged cat trying to bury turds in a frozen pond. It's transferring every ounce of your engine's power to pavement while enduring massive forces, yet it's the most neglected maintenance item on most motorcycles. Chain drive has powered motorcycles since their inception, but modern O-ring and X-ring chains are space age compared to old-school roller chains. These sealed chains arrived in the 70s and transformed maintenance schedules. Where riders once oiled chains every few hundred miles, modern chains go 500 to 600 miles between services, while lasting 20,000 miles with proper care. Here's your money-saving routine. Clean with kerosene or dedicated chain cleaner. Never use WD-40, which strips O-ring lubricants. Apply chain lube when warm after rides, focusing on side plates where O-rings seal in grease. The heat helps lube penetrate, while centrifugal force during riding distributes it evenly. Adjust tension per your manual, typically 1 to 1.5 inches of slack measured midway between sprockets.
If you do a lot of rain riding, your chain's gonna rust and you're just gonna have to clean it and lube it more often.
A new chain and sprocket set runs $150 to $250 installed professionally. Do it yourself for $80 in parts. Neglect costs more. Worn chains accelerate sprocket wear exponentially. Once sprocket teeth look like shark fins, you're replacing everything regardless of chain condition. Check chain wear using the pull test. Grab the chain at the rear sprocket's 3 o'clock position and pull backward. If you see daylight between chain and sprocket teeth, it's stretched beyond service limits. Also look for kinked links that don't flex freely. These create dangerous tight spots. Pro maintenance tip. Mark your chain with paint to identify stiff links during rotation. Clean your front sprocket area regularly. Accumulated grime becomes grinding paste. Never pressure wash directly at O-rings. You'll force water past seals, causing premature failure. Proper chain maintenance is the difference between replacing a chain at 20,000 miles versus 5,000 miles.
Replacing plugs is technically easy. Getting to them is another story.
Number 4. Spark plug intelligence. Spark plugs are your engine's truth tellers, whispering secrets about combustion health if you know how to listen. Reading plugs became less critical when electronic fuel injection replaced carburetors, but these $8 components still provide invaluable diagnostic information most riders completely ignore. When electronic ignition systems replaced points in the mid-1970s, spark plug maintenance intervals jumped from 3,000 to 10,000 plus miles. Modern iridium plugs last 20,000 miles, but checking them costs nothing while revealing everything about engine condition. Pull a plug annually. It's a 5-minute health check that could prevent catastrophic failure. A healthy plug displays tan or light gray deposits on the insulator. Black, sooty deposits indicate rich mixture. You're washing cylinders with excess fuel, diluting oil and accelerating wear. White blistered insulators mean dangerous lean conditions that could melt pistons.
Plugs out, it's a good idea to inspect them and look for clues about what's going on inside your engine.
Oil-fouled plugs suggest worn rings or valve seals. Address this before major engine work becomes necessary. Changing plugs requires minimal tools but demands precision. Use exactly what your manual specifies. Wrong heat range plugs cause pre-ignition or fouling. The heat range number indicates how quickly plugs dissipate heat. One step colder might work for racing, but street riding demands stock specifications. Gap them properly using wire-type feeler gauges, not those coin-shaped gap tools that damage electrodes. Most street bikes run 0.028 to 0.032 inch gaps. Too wide causes misfires, too narrow reduces spark intensity. Always check gap even on pre-gapped plugs. Shipping and handling often alter settings. Installation technique matters. Hand thread plugs until sealed, then tighten specified torque. Usually just an 1/8 turn past hand tight for aluminum heads. Over-tightening strips threads, requiring expensive helicoil repairs. Apply tiny amounts of anti-seize to threads, avoiding contaminating electrodes.
Typically, you'll feel a bit of stuttering or sputtering, with the engine.
Replace plug wires showing cracks or resistance above specifications. Good plugs with bad wires still misfire, wasting fuel while potentially damaging catalytic converters on modern bikes. Number 3, the pressure truth. Tires are literally your only contact patches with reality, yet tire pressure gets checked less frequently than social media. This is insane, considering proper pressure affects handling, braking distance, fuel economy, and whether you make it home vertical or horizontal. The pneumatic tire revolutionized motorcycling when Dunlop introduced them in 1888, but it wasn't until radial motorcycle tires arrived in the 80s that pressure became hypercritical. Modern sport tires operate within narrow pressure windows. Just 2 to 3 psi variation dramatically affects performance and safety. Check pressure weekly when tires are cold, not monthly, weekly.
Contact patch possible. Lowering the pressure allows that to happen. It puts more rubber onto the ground.
Riding even 1 mile heats tires, increasing pressure 2 to 4 psi and giving false readings. Underinflated tires flex excessively, generating heat that degrades rubber compounds while wearing edges prematurely. Overinflated tires reduce contact patch size, wear centers rapidly, and make your bike handle like it's on marbles. That $400 set of premium tires could last 12,000 or 4,000 miles. Pressure determines which. Running 5 psi low increases rolling resistance, costing 10% fuel economy while accelerating wear 40%. Overinflation by similar amounts reduces grip dramatically, especially in wet conditions where you need maximum contact patch. Invest in a quality digital gauge. Those pencil gauges at gas stations vary wildly. A good $25 digital gauge provides consistent readings for years. Check valve stems for cracks and replace metal valve caps if missing. They're secondary seals preventing pressure loss.
Conditions you're riding in and also your skill level should all determine how hard you have your tires.
Temperature affects pressure significantly. Even 10 degrees Fahrenheit change alters pressure roughly 1 psi. Set pressures during temperature extremes accordingly. Track day pressures differ from street. Hot track pressures run 3 to 5 psi lower than cold street settings for max grip. Don't forget visual inspections. Tread depth. Legal minimum is 2/32 of an inch, but replace at 3/32 of an inch. Sidewall cracks, embedded objects, irregular wear patterns indicating suspension or alignment issues. Proper pressure maximizes your tire investment while potentially saving your life. Number 2, oil change mastery. Oil is your engine's lifeblood, and changing it remains the most fundamental maintenance task you'll ever perform. It's also where you'll save the most money over your bike's lifetime while developing that crucial mechanical connection every serious rider cherishes. The cultural importance of motorcycle oil changes exploded after 1974 when Robert Pirsig's Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance hit shelves. This philosophical journey wrapped around motorcycle maintenance sold 1 million copies in the first year and kickstarted an international cultural movement to rethink how people interact with technology.
Your engine's lifeblood, and changing it regularly is the single most important thing you can do.
Suddenly, changing your own oil wasn't just about saving money, it represented understanding and connecting with your machine on a deeper level. Professional oil changes run $80 to $150 depending on shop rates and bike complexity. Doing it yourself? About $25 for quality oil and $10 for a filter. That's $100 saved every 3 to 5,000 miles. Over 50,000 miles, you're banking $1,000 while gaining intimate knowledge of your machine's health. The process demands attention but isn't complex. Warm the engine to operating temperature, not scalding hot. Position drain pan. Remove drain plug slowly. Hot oil shoots out initially. Let drain completely for 10 minutes. Replace drain plug with new crush washer torqued to specification. Swap filter using oil on new filter's gasket. Refill with exact capacity of specified oil grade. Critical details make the difference.
The oil and filter change is one of the most important pieces of maintenance there is, and it's the single best way to protect your...
Never over-tighten drain plugs. Stripped aluminum pan threads mean expensive repairs or replacement. Use a torque wrench if unsure. Always use oil viscosity your manual specifies. Engines are designed around specific oil weights. Going thicker for protection or thinner for performance disrupts engineered clearances. Quality oil matters, but expensive synthetic isn't always necessary. Meeting manufacturer specifications matters more than brand loyalty. Change oil based on severity of use. Aggressive riding, short trips, and extreme temperatures demand shorter intervals than highway cruising. Number 1. The pre-ride inspection ritual. This is it, the number 1 tip that costs absolutely nothing but could save everything. The pre-ride inspection takes 2 minutes and prevents catastrophic failures that turn weekend rides into emergency room visits or roadside nightmares.
It's dip, indicators, and the brakes are lit.
Motorcycle safety checks became standardized after World War II when returning veterans formed riding clubs and brought military discipline to civilian motorcycling. The end of World War II marked a significant shift in motorcycle culture. Veterans, drawn to the camaraderie and adrenaline of riding, formed motorcycle clubs. The The Motorcycle Safety Foundation later formalized the TCLOCS inspection: tires, controls, lights, oil, chassis, stands, that remains the gold standard for pre-ride checks. Walk around your bike methodically. Check tire condition for embedded objects, adequate tread depth, and proper pressure. Squeeze both brake levers. They should feel firm with progressive resistance, not spongy or traveling to the handlebar. Verify all lights function: headlight, high-low beams, tail light, brake light activation from both front and rear brakes, turn signals, and license plate light. Look beneath your bike for fluid puddles indicating leaks. Check chain slack and condition if applicable. Ensure nothing's loose by gently shaking handlebars, foot pegs, mirrors, and luggage. Verify smooth throttle operation returning to idle without sticking. Test clutch engagement and smooth operation through friction zone. This ritual catches problems in your garage instead of discovering them at 70 miles per hour. That loose axle nut, low brake fluid, or worn tire you spot during inspection is one less emergency on the highway. Experienced riders perform these checks automatically, internalizing the routine until it becomes second nature. The best mechanics aren't those who fix everything, they're those who prevent problems before they occur. This 2-minute investment pays dividends every ride. Make it non-negotiable, like putting on your helmet. Your future self will thank you when you're carving canyons instead of waiting for tow trucks. There you have it, brothers. 10 maintenance tips that'll transform you from a parts counter regular to your own mechanicals to your own motorcycle's best mechanic. Remember, every expert was once a beginner who refused to give up. Start with the basics, build your confidence, and soon you'll tackle jobs you never imagined. Your bike will run better, last longer, and that connection between rider and machine grows stronger with every bolt you turn. This isn't just about saving money, it's about truly understanding your ride. If this video helped, smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We're dropping knowledge bombs weekly to keep you riding longer, stronger, and smarter. Until next time, keep the rubber side down and the wrenches turning. Ride safe.